Listen, my children, and you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere. On the 18th of April in 75, hardly a man is now alive who remembers that famous day and year. He said to his friend, if the British march by land or sea from the town to right, hang a lantern aloft in the belfry arch of the north church tower as a signal light, one if by land and two if by sea, and I on the opposite shore will be, ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm, for the country folk to be up and arm. That is the first few lines of the famous poem Paul Revere's Ride, and many of you have had that poem drilled into your heads by your teachers. Now, maybe you didn't know about the poem, but basically what I just said is what you've been taught most of your lives. Pretty much ever since elementary school when they tell you about Paul Revere. That's pretty much how they tell it to you. But how much of this is actually true? Is that really the story? Well, no. No, it's not. Unfortunately, what you've been taught ever since you were little is not really how that night completely went. Many of you have grown up not even really knowing that that isn't true. So I'm going to tell you the true story of the ride of Paul Revere. First off, at least it gets the date right. This does happen April 18th, 1775. And they were told to light a lantern in the bell tower of the Old North Church, that if the British do end up showing up and are coming to attack, to light a lantern, one if by land and two if by sea. And the people would be sent out to nearby territories to warn everyone that they're coming so that they can get ready to fight. However, Paul Revere wasn't even able to see the lanterns. Yeah, the one if by land or two if by sea was seen instead by a man named Dr. Joseph Warren. And when he saw the lanterns, he sent a man named William Doss to go and warn people, not Paul Revere. So William Doss sent out and started warning people. Paul Revere didn't get started until later. So when they rode and began to warn people of the impending attack, they didn't ride around also shouting, the British are coming, the British are coming. Because at that time, the colonies were British. And so most of the people considered themselves to be British citizens. More than likely, they would have said, the regulars are coming, which a regular is what was known as a British soldier. Then, as a matter of fact, he didn't even shout the British were coming or the regulars were coming. If they did that, they would have been arrested, for they were surrounded by British soldiers throughout the territory. So this was more of a stealth mission. More than anything else, they would have been very quiet, rode to nearby towns, villages, and to just people within Lexington and Concord, gone more like door to door, and just been like, the regulars are coming, the regulars are coming. And the people would have understood at that point, and then gotten ready for war. Now, that's also not the only two people, William Doss and Paul Revere, who rode and warned people. There was also a man named Samuel Prescott. Because, see, something else that is oftentimes left out of the history books about Paul Revere is that as him and Doss were leaving Lexington, they were arrested before they could go to Concord. And so another man was sent out, a man named Samuel Prescott. He rode on and began to warn the people of Concord. But after people in Lexington were warned, many others took to their horses and rode to warn other people. So besides Paul Revere, more importantly, we should also tell the story of William Doss and Samuel Prescott. Many other writers' names are lost to history, but those three people, not just Paul Revere, should easily be remembered for what they've done. Both of William Doss and Samuel Prescott definitely deserve their own stories, their own poems about this amazing night. Now, does this mean that Paul Revere shouldn't be remembered? Well, no, not necessarily. Paul Revere did do a midnight ride. It just didn't happen the way that we've been told. That poem is what everyone believes to be historical fact and has since become as historically accurate as anyone can imagine. All that really matters is to make sure that the truth is comes out first, for that is the most important thing. So that is the true story of the midnight ride of Paul Revere. And it's more like the midnight ride of Paul Revere and friends. But I seriously doubt that, unfortunately, that name of the story will ever really change. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed and I hope you learned something new. And I will see you all next time.